Hello, and welcome again to the lecture series The Ascended Masters Answer the Fundamental Questions of Life. This lesson is entitled Memoirs of Jesus and Mother Mary, Part 4. First on my list is Mother Mary's description of the Ascension of Jesus. The night before the Ascension, Jesus spoke to us and said to John and me, "Tomorrow at dawn I shall climb the hill of Bethany alone. You come with Peter and James around 9 o'clock and let the others follow." The early morning came and Jesus walked alone up the hill. He was like a magnet. His presence, his sweet voice, his shining ear, his aura, all these were powerfully charged. Wherever he was, even if people were sleeping, they stirred, they rose, they followed him. Around 9 o'clock, the presence of beloved Jesus was already brilliant and shining like a sun. So bright was the light shining through his body that we could scarcely look upon it. He spoke no more. We just continued to pray with him, drawing the resurrection and ascension flames. Then on that majestic hilltop, from the very rock where I had spent so many years in prayer, Jesus ascended consciously in the visible presence of about 500 people. After that, Jesus came once a day for quite a while, and John and I recorded what he said, "As much as you receive our words now." The next subject is Jesus describing his own ascension. Here are his words. John and my mother Mary chose the location of my ascension, and thus on that morning I was unable to quietly walk up that grassy path to the top of Bethany's hill. I was able to quicken the vibratory action of my resurrected form, and in the presence of almost 500 people, to publicly manifest my ascension. I was assisted by my own I Am presence and the mighty prayer force that my mother had established through her years of prayer on Bethany Hill. Some witnessed my ascension, some did not. Because as the light became brighter, the natural activity of the human self is to cover the eyes against glare. Some were frightened. They turned their backs, lest they be distressed. Some flung themselves on the ground, but a few stood and can bear witness. Some of these are within this room today. From the top of the hill of Bethany, I completed my course, leaving it in the hands of those who were to be the form of the foundation of the Christian dispensation. I ascended to my Father and to yours, enjoying the company of the divine beings. The first Pentecost. After the crucifixion and resurrection, the Roman government and the Sanhedrin, which is the high priest, were content and satisfied. They felt certain that they had put an end to this menace to their authority. As far as where they are concerned, things were now nice and quiet. Jesus suggested to his friends to keep it that way and to not draw undue attention to that small community in Bethany. He asked that an upper room in Jerusalem be rented where the disciples and Mary could meet. Matthew was the keeper of the funds, and so it was his responsibility to secure a room. The purpose of the meeting was to restore the disciples' confidence and faith, which was fading somewhat after Jesus' ascension. Those who knew of the coming of the event called the descent of the Holy Spirit prepared for the first Pentecost. The meaning of the Holy Spirit has confused many. Simply put, it is the life-giving, life-supporting energy, also called prana, radiated from the central sun and directed to earth. Here it is received and distributed by the Mahachahan, the Lord of the Rays. Therefore, the Mahachahan is not the Holy Spirit, as he is commonly called, but rather he receives and distributes the energy called Holy Spirit. The term Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit is nothing more than God, His creation, the Son, and God's life-giving, life-sustaining energy. The first Pentecost consisted of an additional amount of energy, also called prana, released to Jesus' followers. It had a profound effect upon the disciples. When the additional life energy was released, the disciples were filled anew with vital fire. In fact, they were filled with so much energy that they appeared to be drunken to others. It gave new emphasis to their lives. It was the final act in preparing them to meet the public, to preach the Gospels. Mary was greatly relieved because during those 10 days after the Ascension, many had leaned on her for faith and confidence, and she was mentally exhausted. Now, after Pentecost, the disciples became much more self-reliant. Now here's a note. Additional subjects such as Mother Mary describing her ascension and her travel to Fatima, Lourdes and England are described in the AMTF book Memoirs of Jesus and Mother Mary. This book may be purchased from the website www.ascendedmaster.org. Again, the website is www.ascendedmaster.org. This concludes Lesson 2 entitled Memoirs of Jesus and Mother Mary. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed listening to this lesson, and I look forward to meet you again for the presentation of the next lesson, which is entitled Which Teacher to Follow. Thank you, and God bless you.